Welcome to the Daily Exchange. I'm here with Trader Cobb, and we're going fucking crazy out here. Literally, Trader has been with me, Mr. Cobb himself. He's super anxious about a coin. We'll tell you about that, about protocols, and much more. We're going to go through the top coins. We'll see you very soon. All right, we're back, guys. Now, Craig, just a bit of background on yourself. Absolute badass trader, killer. Tell us about what you're doing, just to give us everyone a bit of background before we launch in this coin. I know you've been sweating out here, literally sweating. There's a coin about to jump, and we're on it. We're going to give you guys the details on that. But just quickly, Craig, tell us about what you're up to.
Yeah, look, I'm a trader. I'm the founder of TRADERCOBB.com. We educate people all around the world in trading strategy. So the way I describe trading is basically it's like a different language, okay? You can learn the language and you can get along really well in that country. If you don't learn the language, you're a bit lost. So I teach the words, but I teach how to not just use the words, but to create a sentence. You know, throwing words together doesn't make a coherent conversation possible. So it's about what words go where. I've got a written checklist to do things, but I've been trading for the last 12 years now. Traditional markets like foreign exchange, bonds, stocks. I've covered it all. If it moves, I trade it. I come into cryptocurrency.
If it moves,
I trade it. I'm on it.
He's on it.
Yep.
Craig's on it. Right, now let's launch into this.
Right.
Craig, tell us, why are you sweating right now? What's going on? Tell us about the market. What is actually going on right now? Tell us. Give it to us.
Well, I'm sweating on OMG, Bitcoin, and the reason I'm sweating on it is because there's a setup, there's a trade. It fits my rules and there's a structured setup.
Let's bring the guys into this chart. Let's have a look at it.
I'll drive this bus. You put it up.
Tell us about what's going on right now. Just give us your view on the market, a little bit of high level. We're looking at OMG right now.
Well, let's start with Bitcoin if we can look at high level.
Let's get into it.
Let's get started here.
Tell us.
All right, so you got that chart up there right now. I keep my charts very, very simple, okay? What you got here is you got the 10-period moving average, which is this low one, exponential. You can use simple. It doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. 20-period above. Now, I use this area called the cradle zone. So if you notice this, look, when it trends, it pulls back into an equilibrium. The cradle zone is just a name I've given it. Look, it pulls back into that equilibrium, moves away. It pulls back in, potentially moving away. Now, if we zoom in out a bit further, you can see it happening here. Back in, moves away. Nice. Back in, moves away.
So what's this called? What's this called?
I call it the cradle zone. Realistically, it's just an equilibrium point. You can look at any chart, any market, any time frame forever, and anything that trends, you will see that this is factual. It's not something that's a hypothetical. This is a fact. It happens. Doesn't always mean there's trades there, but as you can see, a pullback, really good move. And we've got a bearish candle on Bitcoin in the sell cradle zone.
Sell cradle zone, guys.
So,
tell us what's the sell cradle zone? Give us your take on that.
It's that zone, right? So it's in this when the moving average is fanned, right? Like your fingers fanning, you spread your fingers out. They're fanning. They're not twisted. They're not turning over.
Yep.
Like what we see here, we've got a bearish candle here that broke the lows, and then we saw a good move. Subsequently, we got that right now. If we break the low on Bitcoin, we're probably going to see the market dip. Now, there's a number of ways you can take advantage of that. You can either trade Bitcoin short, a number of the top 10 short, because we know
this is not financial advice.
Absolutely not.
Making sure no financial advice here, guys. Do not trade on any of this. We are not trading anything right now. This is all imaginary. No, but if you want to listen to the guy who's actually going to know what's going on, just so you know, we're not trying to give you advice and tips here, but we just want to be super, 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 super straight about this. You might want to look at this information. This is information only, not trading advice, just so we get that right out there and clear.
Thanks.
Let's go back to that.
Let's get back to that. So there's a number of ways you can take advantage of market moves. Now, a lot of people in this industry are very good at buying. I've got a saying that even a turkey can fly in a hurricane, which is basically people that buy in a bull run, everyone's an expert, everyone does phenomenally well.
Right.
However, when markets fall, you see those people sort of go very quiet. How do we make money when markets fall? How do we make money when it rises? That's what a real trader does.
Let's get into it. So right now, the market, you think we're going to go down. We're at what time is it now? We're looking at, it's 11:36 a.m. in Sydney currently. We're going to check back on this 3 times throughout the show today, guys. Let's talk about the coin now that you think is literally about to pop. I believe, Craig, when you were on your way here, don't get me wrong, but you were freaking out because you didn't get your trade on this one. Guys, have a listen to this. Craig, let's take it through. Take everyone through. What are you looking at?
Okay, I'm looking at OMG against Bitcoin as the one that I really wanted to get on. time got away from me, didn't get the order raised. Now we can see here we don't have an uptrend, but let me take you down to the 4 hour. I actually like this on the 8 hour. Unfortunately, we don't have the 8 hour here,
Okay.
but the zone that we're looking at, let me just draw a line in for everybody to see so I can show you what I'm looking at. A break above that level there. How do I make that a bit thicker? That'll do. A break above that level there is my looking for entry, and a stop below this level here. Now let me just thicken that up a bit or make it red so it's easier to see. There we go.
Yes.
Now we're talking. So effectively, on an 8 hour chart, this is back into that buy cradle zone, right? But this area here, it's back into that zone. If we break up through there, I believe that we will see it push on, and it will have created at that point a new higher low in that 8 hour trend. Now, I really like this, and I'm really hoping that while I'm here, it doesn't trigger, so I can get back home and get my order on. But that's the sort of thing I'm looking for.
You heard it first right here. OMG. Trader Cobb sweating bullets right now.
If it breaks
bullets.
If it breaks that range, probabilities would suggest that it will move higher. Again, not financial advice, and I have not raised
This
that
is
order.
not financial advice, guys. We are not delivering financial advice.
I look at probabilities, man. Like that's as a trader, you've only got probabilities. I don't feel, I don't think, I just do.
Okay, so let's take it down. Now, you're looking at OMG right now. You're feeling a bit of sentiment on it. You're looking at some real cool fundamentals. Tell us the difference here. Like, when you're looking at this, are you just looking at the chart?
Yeah. So that's the difference. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as the saying goes. I know you're big on your fundamentals, and that's great because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fundamental guy. I am a technical trader. I know where my expert lies, and I don't lie about being expert in other things. So I work with
You're the
people
man when
with
it comes to,
fundamentals.
you know
I read
these.
charts. This is my world, man.
Well,
This is what I've been doing for 12 years. It's what I'm focused at. It's what I'm very good at. So I'm purely looking at the technicals. Now, the reason that I typically try to trade within the top 10 to 20 because if you're trying to get volume, it's very difficult to get it anywhere else, so you don't get slippage.
So what are the top 3 things, if you're just trading on on charts, what are the top 3 things you want to keep in mind?
1, trend. If there's no clear trend, I'm not going to trade it. All right. 2, I want to make sure it's got some volume so I can actually get my fills. So volatility is important. We've got that in crypto, but I want to make sure, typically for my trading size, between the 10 and 20 is where I'm comfortable.
10, 20.
Top 10, top
Okay,
20.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
in coin market.
And
I
what
know
sort
it's
of
supposed
volume
to
are you
be
looking
scale.
for on an exchange to make sure you...
Typically, if I stay within the top 10 to 20, I don't have too many problems.
Okay.
So I don't need to look at that.
Yep.
A lot of the time you can tell by looking at the charts.
Yep.
So if the charts are gappy on the lower time frames or
Okay.
higher, you can get, okay, that's not worth trading because I'm not going to get my fill. What I don't want to do is spend half a day trying to get my order in. If it's a long-term fundamental project that I'm investing in, I'm happy to work an order out because I'm not going to be trying to sell that for a long time. So I'm happy to spend the time building the trade. But if I'm trading it, I don't want to spend half a day because I could miss 4 other trades.
Okay, so when you're making these trades, you're lining this up. How long are you going to be in this for?
Yeah, well, that depends on the move, really. Often, for a move like this, often what I look to do, not all the time, but often, is scale out. So let's say I risk $1,000 on a trade.
Yep.
Just to keep the math simple. If my risk is, say, 10, then what I look to do is I'll close half of that position at a profit margin of 10.
Gotcha.
So that means that if the market comes back down and falls, I get stopped out and I've lost nothing. So first and foremost, as a trader, always looking to minimize risk because the currency of being in business as a trader is currency. Without money, you've got no tool to be in business. So you've got to preserve your capital.
Let's just walk through this. So you've gone up 10 points.
Yep.
You've closed out half.
Yep.
You've still got half riding.
Yep.
And you've got to stop now back at where you
using
started.
Exactly.
With your entry.
Yep.
And then, but what if it goes up another 10?
Yep.
Will you take another half off the table again?
It depends. If with crypto, obviously markets can explode and get pretty out of control. A good example's EOS against Bitcoin. Actually, I'll bring it up because it's much easier to talk about it when I've got the example. I'll bring it up on Binance and we'll look at the daily time frame here. So I'll drive this with you. So I'll put out to the subscribers back here. Back here. I'll try and make it so it's a bit easy to see. So remember how I talked about that cradle zone, the 10 and 20? Look, it pulled back in, small bullish candle in that zone, pop. The first day where it popped like this, I took my 1-to-1. I scaled out, I took away any risk on the table. Didn't lock in any profit. Then it pulled back.
What do you mean you didn't take any profit?
Well, because I didn't bank any profit because if the trade had come against me and stopped me out, I would have lost nothing.
Yeah.
So taking some profit with some risk on the table still nets off at 0.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Right. So
minimizing my risk is number one.
So you entered where? Whereabouts?
I got long Let me draw in the lines again. I was long as it broke up through the high of that candle. My stop loss was underneath the low of this little range here. So first day we got 1-to-1.
Yep.
It happened very, very quickly.
So you went up. That's a solid up, right? A solid candle.
That's what you want to see.
And so but you didn't take anything off the table.
No, took half of the trade position.
Took half the table, right?
So
and at what price are you taking half the table off here?
1-to-1. So let's say it's 5 satoshis or 50 satoshis, right?
Yep.
Between entry and stop.
Yep.
First target is the same. Whatever the risk multiple is my first target.
Gotcha.
So it's just scaling out.
So so you've gone up. So let's say this. So we've gone up half. Now we've pulled back almost to your entry.
Yep.
You're still riding with half, or did you reload?
Still riding with half.
Right. And we've got an absolute monster candle.
Well, hang on. You're missing something.
Right.
What you're missing is that it's set up again.
Right.
See this? Small little bullish candle in the cradle zone, new higher high, that makes a new higher low, pulls back, small bullish candle in the cradle zone. Some people that didn't take this trade took this trade.
Gotcha.
And off we go.
Yep.
So yes, we did have a massive candle here, and after I did my top 100 scan that I do each day for members, it wasn't at the very high, but it wasn't far off it. I said to the guys, look, of the 50% I've still got on, I'm going to close 25% of that.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to close 50% of that. So I closed an additional 25% of the entire trade, locking in profit at that point. My stop then went from here to here underneath the low of that. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now what that did, because we know in crypto, right, we see this often, this big candle.
Yep.
What we don't see, and what follows this is a pullback.
Yes.
Now I wasn't willing to wait for that to pull back. I was happy to take, because that's a good profit.
That is a great
That's
profit.
a good profit. So like, right, take 25% off and let's see what happens. Now it didn't set up again over here for another entry, but look what it did do, is it set this level and moved higher as it broke the high.
Would you call that a cradle?
Yeah, it's back in the cradle, but it's not just the cradle we're looking for. There's a structured number of basically points, like a checklist is how I work from.
Right.
The cradle zone trended 2 of those dot points. We need to have a number of other things.
Right.
Didn't give a trade, but it did start to move, and I kept raising my stop. I ended up getting stopped out, so I'll move that stop loss from here up to here as it pulled back in the cradle zone. Bullish candle, but it's too big. As soon as it broke the high of that, my stop went to there. Subsequently, the next day, I was stopped, a day later, I was stopped out. And my entry, remember, my entry was down here, and I'll show you the risk multiple. So that's my risk, that's my reward. So you work out how many that is. So that's the joy of trading, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. Okay, so we've got a very interesting pattern here, because this was what late
It was
April.
early April, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Early April. Yeah.
Early April, coming into late May. Early May.
Yep.
It's kind of weird because just talking about bringing the fundamentals in,
let's do that.
because EOS is mainnet has been put out with the code on the 2nd of July. It's currently we're trading right now. It is 7 a.m. in New Delhi, but it is still 11:45 here in Sydney. So you're looking at Korea is going to come online fairly soon. But right now, I don't think EOS is live. I don't think the mainnet is fully live, right? So the code's out there, but the whole block production and how it's all going to roll out is going to take some time. But it's really interesting to me that this massive rally happened not around the time of the actual mainnet potentially coming online, right? Happened a month before that, way back in April, when it wasn't even, wasn't even near. Early May, April, like people were like really getting G'd up on this coin. It was a sleeper all throughout, like that massive crash. It was literally just what I don't know what was going on. It was an ERC20 bumping around like Neo, bumping around like Cardano is currently with no mainnet, like with I don't even
Limbo.
know. Yeah. So as a trader, like are you taking any of that data, like that mainnet launch? The coding time, like how are you picking up on that kind of sentiment in your trades?
The best thing about trading is you trade what you see, not what you think. So a lot of people think about things, surely there's a rumor of this, I think it'll go up, or this is coming out, so I think it'll do this. What you learn as a trader is that certain things you shouldn't think about, you should act. An analyst thinks. So I traded in London, had an office with a few guys, and one of the guys who was a trader was an analyst. He'd left his job, had a big bonus, and came and traded with us. And me and the boys would be trading, and we'd be in and out of a trade. He goes, oh, hang on, I've worked out why sterling went up against the dollar. And we're like, mate, that trade's done. So the why is not important. The how we get involved is important. I don't give two shits about what's going on, or why it's going on. I care about what is going on.
Gotcha.
So, based upon that, I don't look at that sort of stuff. I don't consider when these sorts of things are happening.
Okay.
I read the chart, I look at the chart, and you know what often I'll find is that when you get a good uptrend, for example, you tend to find that the momentum stays in that
Gotcha.
favour. So we will see that if there's a good uptrend, good news events do come out.
Gotcha.
And just sort of they work hand in hand. Now, as far as sentiment goes, which is the addition to the question, for me, I've got a top 10 in my list. I focus on the top 10. I do the top 10 scan every single day. First things first, I do that on the podcast, walk people through that. Now,
it's very cradly.
Yeah, exactly. So we break the low of this candle here on this. This is a daily time frame, as you can see by the D. We break the low of that bad boy right there, and I can see the market moving lower. Now, what I'm looking at when I look at the sentiment is the top 10, because the top 10 equates for a large majority of the total market cap.
Gotcha.
Most of it's captured within that top. I don't know the exact percentage, but most of it's there. So for me to do a quick top 10 search, what it does is it allows me to see what's the market thinking right now. Now, if we were trading something like a US company in a stock, I'll be looking at the S&P 500. As a matter of fact, if I was trading any equity, I'm always going to revert back to the S&P 500 because that's the global barometer for economic stability and for global financial markets.
So what are we looking at with Bitcoin?
We've got Bitcoin.
Yeah. So what are you feeling right now? What's
Bitcoin, look,
not feeling? Yes, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Oh, emotion, I'm a robot.
TRADERCOBB is a robot.
That's
robot right here.
That's why I
First
got no
cyborg on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
I just want to introduce, before you get into Bitcoin, everyone, you've got a new character here. It's called the Moon. So when we have our Moon coins, I need to get your number one Moon coin on the predictions. It's quite the Moon, really. But this is when we're seeing something going to the Moon, and we're going to get onto it. I want to hear your Moon coins coming up, Craig. So can we switch back quickly to OMG? That is the Moon, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to be introducing to the show. Absolutely fantastic. It's the Moon coins. You heard it right here. Now, where are we at with OMG, just quickly?
Oh, it's just sitting in its range. If I break it down and look at the 1 hour, you'll actually see here it's sitting in a literal range. And you know what? This has actually become quite interesting for a different trading strategy now. It's a breakout trade. Look, we've got test 1, test 2, test 3. 3 levels at the same level, 3 tests. That is considered a level of resistance. We have a higher low, a higher low. We break that level. It adds even more weight to the trade. It's a crypto cradle trade on the 8 hour, but then we bring in and combine this resistance, and it also has a Bitcoin breakout strategy. So we've got 2 coming together as one, like the Spice Girls said.
The Spice Girls, I love that.
You're going to see it or what?
Tell us, would you look at this? Is this a trade? Are you sweating still? How are you feeling about it?
Feeling wise, I mean,
not so much feeling. Like, what are you thinking about it?
There's two things that are going to happen, right? Okay. One is it's going to trigger while I'm here and I'm not going to get it. Okay. 2 is I'm going to leave here and I'm going to get an Uber that's got a rocket on the back of it to get me back to the office, and I'm going to raise my order. Now, the things that I can control are me and my actions. The things that I can't control are the market and its actions. So there's not a real lot there's nothing I can do right now. It's just simple as that, really.
It's sort of sitting there, really, but it's
hanging out.
It's kind of comfortable.
It's
about as comfortable as the Moon is right now, sitting right next to us.
Let me tell you what it's waiting for. The whole market is waiting for its beast, which is Bitcoin. Now, if we see Bitcoin break the lows, we will probably see a bit of a run of selling. We've got to break the lows. The low, what is the low? The low is 7451. We break the low of 7451. We've got another little bearish signal, which is a bearish candle in the cradle zone. We break the low. Probability is we may see. Now, if we do start to get some skates on, i.e. selling starts to increase, what we're going to see is the market to start to capitulate, would be my guess. Now, it's the same as what happened. And don't forget, I've been wrong before and I will be wrong again. But probabilities would suggest the last time it broke the lows, look what happens. Bearish candle in that zone. When it breaks the low, what happens? It falls. When it breaks the low, what happens? It falls. When it breaks the low, if it falls, it's a probability that's very likely. So I can only go with what I know based on probabilities.
Right. So you're calling potentially a fall here in Bitcoin right now.
If we break that low,
If we break that low.
then probabilities would
Yeah.
suggest that, yeah, we'll see it leg
Gotcha.
down a bit.
Okay. Let's go back. Tell us right now, Craig, give us your top 3. And I want to hear a moon coin as well. What's the one that's sort of sleeping outside, waiting to come in the top 20 house?
Whoa.
Everyone's out there. Mr. Moon wants to have a little run with us. Get him in there. Let's bring him in. There we go. Mr. Moon. I'm going to give you the
my
moon
head
coin.
was bigger,
The
that
moon
could be
coin.
a- that could
Just
be a
bring it in
hat.
there.
You
Craig,
can-
you can actually put it on as a bit of a hat, actually.
I'll
Just get in there.
I'll
Right.
let you do that.
Tell us, Craig. Give us your moon coin prediction.
Look, for me, investing is a different thing to trading, right? So when it comes to investing, I'm focusing on the company.
Yeah.
I want to be, if at all possible, there's a lot of great projects that I want to know the team.
Yeah.
I want to be involved in it intimately.
Yeah.
Not in terms of the decision-making process, but more in terms of I want to have an understanding for who's running it. For me, the moon coin, the one that I've put considerable thought into is, it's actually an Australian company, it's Horizon State.
Horizon State.
Yeah, so
Tell us a bit of background on it. Give us your Horizon State. The moon coin.
Yeah, so
Horizon State.
it's actually in the Finder Dubalaki, you know, the little survey that I did. Anyway.
You can watch. I think our predictions does have a Horizon State prediction on the price.
That's me. Oh, not on price. It's on Horizon State is on the moon coin.
On the moon coin.
So basically, it's voting on the blockchain, run by people that I have become friends with. Who
So this is Horizon
Jamie
State.
Skeller.
Yep. So Jamie.
Jamie Skeller.
I think there's a video on our channel interviewing Jamie, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Producer, do we have a link to that for the guys to watch if they want to jump to that? I don't know if there's a page. Let us know. We'll bring up something for you. We're working on it.
Thanks.
Joel, our man, behind the scenes. Tell us
So,
about Horizon State.
Basically, it's voting on the blockchain. The thing I like about it is one, look purely from an investment point of view, it's got a low market cap currently. It's got a low supply, and they're actually transacting. They're doing business.
Right.
You know, it's not one of these sitting in limbo. They are selling this to the consumer. It's
Yep.
happening. It's
Yep.
working. It's being used, and
Yep.
it's a business that's actually happening.
Yep.
It's not that we're trying to find something to fix, or one day we'll do this, or one day we'll do that. They're actually doing something. So for
Gotcha.
me as an investor,
Gotcha.
you know, knowing my traditional investing background, that's important to me. I'm not as interested about all the, you know, we're here to do this and all the fundamental, all the funny stuff that's all tokenomics, and that's important. Don't get me wrong.
Gotcha.
But for me, if the business doesn't make sense, I'm not in. This one makes
Okay.
sense, and they're working well.
So you bring up a really good point, and we were talking about this. I think right now today there's a new type of investor. There's let's talk about this because I think it's a really important topic. We've got guys like Warren Buffett, books like Value Investing. We've got Investable. What's the guy? Roger Montgomery. I think he's a mate of mine on Sky News. Long-term investor, looks at fundamentals. A lot of the guys I know in equities are really into this. I think I personally come from that background as well. I guess I'm a business builder. I can understand those kind of economics, and I get that. Right, let's plug that to the side. So there's value investing, and now you were talking about this new type of investor now. This new type of investor, and you called it a tokenomics investor. Tell us about that, Craig.
Yeah, I think
What's the difference here? Like, what's a tokenomics investor?
a tokenomics investor is somebody who's probably not invested in traditional markets. A tokenomics investor is somebody who is getting their information from YouTube. People that are sort of,
Getting it from guys like us.
yeah, there's that, but there's a lot of turkeys out there that are flying in the hurricane. Let's not forget that. Don't forget everyone who bought in 2016 or 17 is now an expert.
Right.
Don't forget that. Why? Because they bought something?
Right.
Just because I buy a car doesn't make me an expert in that car.
Well, everyone's doing their best, Craig. I think that everyone's doing their best. So there's probably.
Oh, I'm not here to insult anybody, Fred.
Neither am I.
I'm telling how I see it, and it's as blatant as that for me.
But let's get back to a tokenomics investor. How does that even happen? So you're not even looking at the company. You're not even.
It's because these people are looking at things that they're being told to
Joel
look
linked
at.
it in the chat. Horizon State, guys. It's right here. If you want to jump in and get it.
There you go.
We'll bring it back
Don't leave this,
afterwards when we post this. If you are watching this in replay, so check out that on Finder, the write-up and the video. But tokenomics investor. Craig, tell us about it.
Look, the issue that I've got, and it's not an issue for me because I don't do this. It's an issue I have with educating the space because that's my job, right? I'm a commentator, I'm a trader, I'm an educator. That's what I do. The whole point of me being here is to help people to get a better understanding of what is, not what is not.
Yeah.
Fact versus fiction. Tokenomics and not looking at the business. Tokenomics has a part to play, obviously, in the investment when you're looking at crypto assets, right? But it's not the be-all, end-all. Right. Just because something's going to give you a good bonus doesn't mean the bonus is actually going to be worth anything, guys.
Because I've been hearing right now, and this is something it brings on to. So you're looking at these investors, you're looking at market cap, you're looking at bonuses, you're looking at the coin price, you're looking at vesting periods and those kind of things, and you can basically make a trade out of this. Now, my issue right now, what I've noticed is some of my mates are really, and I've been seeing more and more of this, it's just straight scams. People who are posing with these token economics. Yeah. And I'm really worried right now about this, and I'm worried as well, like all these big, all the good coins, they're not getting ICO'd. You can't get them as the public. They're literally locked up with, you've got to know someone to know someone. The other ones are posing, and then you've got all these other ones right now, which I'm really worried about, you know, and the things that are happening. So one thing I've been thinking about is this whole idea of how do we get around these I guess not great projects and how do we raise money in a better way? And one thing I've been thinking about, I'm interested in what you think about this, Craig, is what if we actually raise money in smaller chunks? And if too much money's raised, all the money goes back to the investor, start again, because clearly something's wrong. Right? If it's over-invested and oversubscribed, then something's incorrect. If it's undersubscribed, it's not right as well. There needs to be a sweet spot of where everyone is being upfront and direct about what it's going to be, right? And the second thing I've been thinking about is, why don't we just give the money? Why don't we have a multi-signature wallet or whatever it may be potentially, and everyone needs to sign off in order to release the funds. Everyone needs to agree. And don't just give it all away, because then we can reduce our risk and things like that.
But what about, I mean, look, I get what you're saying as far as, you know, if oversubscribed or undersubscribed, but oversubscribed is what you want. I mean, I'm an investor, okay? So if I'm invested in a project and whether I get, you know, seed, pre-ICO or ICO, depending on how I can, you know, nestle myself in there. I want there to be a huge demand for this token, because look, let's be honest. If I can hit exchanges when it does come out, I want it to be up. That's why I'm here to multiply my money.
Yeah, you want the FOMO, you want people to come buy in.
So we had this big one have a slice of it. We've got to make sure that everyone can have a slice. We see in pooling groups, everyone can have, say, 5 ETH, and that's it. Okay, now that's, you know, for some people it's not very interesting at all, because at the time, who cares? But for others, it's really, really good. So it's a very unique. I don't know if there's a solution just yet. A lot of ICOs are going for a split VC and public sale. So VC was kind of the whole point of this tokenomics and token raising in crypto is that it was a new model to raise money abiling VC. But now we're finding VC still in the space dominating.
So my mate Andrew Bold has this idea on this multi-sig wallet. He'll be along at David Jackson's meetup tomorrow night, so everyone should come along to that. Yeah, come along. It's going to be great. Shout out to everyone involved in that and putting that all together, because it's unbelievable amounts of work. It's a great night. David does a great job.
Good event too.
It is a great night.
Venue.
Real experts, actual people know what's going on, great investors, great places to meet new projects. Come along tomorrow night. Guys, we'll put the link. Joel, just drop the link in for everyone. It's a meetup group. Big shout out to our crew. That is in Sydney, unfortunately, for this event, but we will be obviously coming up with a bit of calendar of events coming up in the next shows, but just wanted to shout out to David and putting that event on. And I believe, Craig, you're going to be there as well. We'll be talking about a few things. Now let's get back right now. What's OMG doing? Tell us.
Let's have a look. OMG, what are you doing, my darling? Hopefully not breaking out. Nope, looks like we're still in that range. Come back to the 1 hour. The level is still there. We need to, I'm only going to be in this if I can get an order raised if it breaks the high of this level. If we can break up through there, 2 strategies, crypto cradle, Bitcoin breakout, coming together. And that's what I want. That's what when they marry together, it's about probability. The more things I've got coming together, whether it be using Fibonacci. Actually, let me just jump up and have a look. I'll just throw in some fibs. Let's just see how this dances with a bit of fib love. bring that down a wee bit and go to here. So I use Fibonacci retracements.
Okay.
Straight out of the box, guys. Draw it from the low to the high. That's the way you draw Fibonacci. And you can
I'm going to
actually
stop
see,
you there, Craig,
boom.
because I'm tripping out. And I'm seeing a rainbow of colours, and all of them just
very,
mean
very
different things to me. But can you give me, and for everyone watching, the basics on what you've drawn here? Because that looks incredible, and I want to know how to do something with this.
It's a rainbow. I'm all about equality, so we're just doing what's going on.
We do equality on the show as well.
So
Equality on the show, except for profits. We do take profits as well.
We do. So Fibonacci is a retracement tool. Okay, Fibonacci is another tool. I'll talk about the words of the language.
So
This is another
retracement
word.
tool.
So price pulls back. So
Yep.
whether you're going, in this case, we're in an uptrend and OMG price moves up. We go, where are we going to pull back to? And it starts to pull back. We go, okay, in and around the 50% and the 61.8% fib zone. Now the 50% is not actually technically a Fibonacci sequence number. It's just halfway between 0 and 100%. 61.8% is part of that Fibonacci sequence.
All right, so we're right in the 61.8.
Boom, we've hit it. We've hit that point. We're holding at that point. Now, if we looked at it on an 8-hour, which we don't have, this is also back in the cradle zone. So if we break it down, we have an uptrend on the 8-hour. We have it pulling back into the cradle zone on the 8-hour. We have a flat level on the 1-hour. We have Fibonacci 61.8%.
All right, let's ask everyone here. Joel, ask everyone. We're going to ask you right now. What do you guys think of this trade? How are you feeling about it? Give us your take. Ask us some questions. Joel, when we get some questions, just send them in to us. And let us know how everyone's going. It is a very interesting prospect. I think we are seeing a really interesting situation here. So let's get back while that's operating. Mooncoin, we're looking at Horizon State. That's looking pretty good. Now, what I want to have a chat about right now is something really I think everyone's thinking about. And let's talk about this Ethereum thing, and let's talk about Ethereum and EOS and how that's all sort of moving. I want to just nail into Ethereum for a second.
Yeah.
Like it's unusually trading. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like it's moving around the place. Or maybe I'll let you, Craig, tell us where we're at with that, because it doesn't seem to be moving like the actual Ethereum to Bitcoin. The flippening or the disconnection from Bitcoin seems to be. I guess it goes in waves, but it definitely seems like it's on an interesting path over time.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the deciding factor was if you looked at how Bitcoin fell throughout that period of retracement. This was here, right? We saw Ethereum getting pumped, didn't we? I mean, look at this. That was its fall from grace. Ethereum was falling harder than Bitcoin and the rest of the market. When you talk about the top 10, Ethereum was consistently the worst performing in its fall.
Yeah.
Look, here's something else to consider. Look, it got back in the cradle zone once, moved, back in the cradle zone twice, and it didn't get back in there for what? A huge amount of move. That's a big, big move where there's no pullback. Then, but look at equally, it's like Bitcoin Cash. When Bitcoin Cash moves up, Bitcoin Cash explodes, and Bitcoin Cash moves down. So when Bitcoin falls down, Bitcoin Cash tanks, which is a great hedging tool. But if you look here, I mean, what we've got is we've got Ethereum against Bitcoin right now. We are starting to gain some momentum. I like to look at the higher time frames to get some real perspective. Unfortunately, it looks like an alien.
What are you seeing there?
Well, look,
I'm seeing that guy. You know the guy, Joel. This is what I'm seeing right now. Just a bit of like, you know that.
What's that? All right.
Well, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, Joel? You can give the crew everyone.
Oh, right,
do you have any
name or
questions,
something.
by the way? Do we have any questions?
I will get back to you really soon on the
Coming back with the questions.
Just getting
Let's keep going. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's
So one thing I can tell you right now, this is the weekly chart. Make it very, very simple. What do we see? We see it pulling back now into what zone? It's back in the cradle zone with a bullish candle rejecting the lows. We break the high of that. Have we broken the high of that? Let's have a look at the high. 80857, 80879. So a break of the high of that candle spells more bullishness.
Really interesting right now, isn't it? Really interesting
Technically
time.
only.
Really interesting time.
It's my world.
It's very interesting. Like, so we're very, very, very locked into where Bitcoin's going right now and where it could be moving to. Is that right? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? It seemed to be like really.
The market always is though.
Right.
It always is. Big, like I said before, the S&P 500 is our barometer for global financial markets and economics. The economic state of the world, more or less. Top 500 companies in the US, of course, there's multinationals that list there too. Bitcoin and crypto, we don't have We don't have an index. We have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is our index, and that's how I read it. That's why if I'm looking for a short, if it's not on Bitcoin, I'll look somewhere else where I can get maybe some more movement. Like on an example I can show you right here. Look, here's the last move down for Bitcoin, back in here. Look at this on Bitcoin Cash, which was a hedge, right? Back in here, better setup. It moved harder percentage-wise than Bitcoin. So it may not, I look at Bitcoin for understanding of where are we likely to do, what's it looking like, where are we, because the market still is, 40-something% dominated by Bitcoin at this stage. When we see the alts pump, we see that change. But for the time being, it is still quite high.
Okay.
So I want to know what's going on with Bitcoin.
So
all the time.
Talking a bit of fundamentals, Ethereum and EOS, the future, there is a definite fight potentially happening here. I remember way back in March when Vitalik did a video on the Ethereum 2.0 presentation up in Singapore. And the second slide he said, like, what is the future of Ethereum? He put the EOS logo up. Now, to me, that's pretty intense, right? That's a big play. Is it the Ethereum killer? Is EOS the Ethereum killer? We're asking you guys right now. Is it the killer? I'm not sure. Let's tweet it out. We'd love to hear your views on that.
I can't know that.
That's a big question. We should have a vote on that and put it up on Finder, and do send in your questions about that. But I've been seeing some white papers with two coins in them. I've been seeing they'll either raise potentially in Ethereum. I've seen them then going to launch on EOS to actually use the application, because you've got an enterprise level. Like, you're talking, 10 minutes a transaction, or three transactions a second, I think, and 3 transactions a second for Bitcoin, 7 to 10 for Ethereum, and you're talking thousands, if not, up to infinitely scalable with EOS. That's an enterprise grade situation. Visa's operating at, I think, 40 to 70. I'm not sure exact numbers. Joel, you're going to have to edit me out on that one. I don't know what the answer is on how many transactions Visa does. Let us know. 40,000 transactions a second. EOS being able to do that. We have a question. What do they think of? So Nick Szabo is criticizing the EOS governance structure. What do we think about the governance structure around EOS? So in terms of how things change, what is the deal behind that? How things are voted on? How things operate? I guess, Nick, the thing about this is, I don't know if you have a view, Craig, on this in terms of the governance structure and how.
None.
How it's not Craig's topic. So, I guess I couldn't say that I'm an expert, but I'm assuming that a lot of this is going to come down to the block producers and how they operate and how they work with EOS themselves. I'm not actually sure exactly how that actually goes down. If there are some background information on this from some guys out there, this is something that's just brand new, right?
Yeah.
So I think this stuff is going to change. This is software that's just going to come out. The actual code is produced, but it is not live, and many people can launch EOS. And I am worried about everyone right now getting scammed. They're going to go, oh, this is the real EOS. No, that one is. I don't know which one to put my public and private keys to. I'm really worried about that. Having said that, I do think these block producers, I think it's 21 nodes, if I'm not mistaken, and you have to put up like serious money to be a block producer, right? They've got a lot at stake, and I love this whole thing, how it's proof of stake from the beginning. So they've got a lot of money up front. I think they're going to do, I think everyone's been hating on EOS, and I understand that. But every superhero has got to have a theme song. I think that was from Kanye.
Sounds like one of the crap I say.
Yeah. They've got a lot of money. I think they're going to fix it, and they're going to make it right. They're going to make changes, and I think we've got to be culturally accepting of that. Like, Ethereum's trying to make a change. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you've got a leader who's practiced in gaining consensus. In other words, you need a politician. A politician is really someone who gains consensus, gains support, and moves large groups of people to go and do things. Now, that's really hard. Really, really hard, especially when you have zero authority with these people. And that's what Ethereum is, right? You've got all these decentralized people. The same thing with EOS. You've got an incredible GitHub, an absolutely incredible GitHub. You've got bounties. This Chinese company, coming in, finding this terrible fault with EOS. It was fixed in 4 hours. To me, is the most bullish sign of a great network I've ever seen, because you've got people actually contributing and actually things happening on the network. That's amazing. That's a sign of a healthy ecosystem that's going to develop.
But I mean, isn't that the whole space? I mean, I hear this argument all the time. People are talking about crypto and they're saying about, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? One of the things that came up in the press was just before consensus. What are they saying about Bitcoin's going to ruin the world because of the mining? It's going to consume so much energy that global warming because of Bitcoin, yada yada yada. And it's like, well, hang on a second. There's more of a brain drain going on in Silicon Valley than we've ever seen before. And guess where those brains are going? The brightest, youngest, smartest people in the world are going into blockchain technology. Now, the thing I love about this space, and I've been fortunate to have interviewed some big players, like Stephen Schul is one of the people that was the founder of Ethereum. So I've had him on, asked some pretty pointy questions. But what I love about the people that are in this space, it's not just about making money. It's not just about making money.
I agree.
So you bring in these people that are moulding the future of our world, which is through blockchain, the third arm of the internet, whatever you want to call it. And they're not just there to make a buck. They're there to do the right thing and make a buck. There's nothing wrong with doing them both.
Yep.
Now, you get the right people in the right space with the right brains and enough of them, we can fix any issue. The community can fix any issue. So it's not just for EOS, it's for everything I think in the space.
You're so right. Look, the thing is, right now, I have a very strong view about this, Craig.
Bring it.
I believe that Bitcoin and all proof of work is fantastic because it's using up so much energy. But the thing about it is that finally this question of energy use is actually becoming,
on the table.
It's coming into the table. And where are all the Bitcoin miners going? To the renewable energy sources. They sit next to the hydro plants, they sit next to the solar plants. They're building solar plants to mine Bitcoin. What about all the big Oracle and Microsoft and Google farms doing about power? Tell me right now. Tell me what the big banks are actually doing. The people who are actually spending all the electricity, just doing random stuff inefficiently and all those kind of things. Bitcoin is bringing into focus energy, guys. Free energy. No, I don't have any free energy. I can't say that.
If you have free energy, I have someone we need to speak with.
Right, let's get back. Tell us about, Craig, where are we at? Right, we have another question come in. Not a Mooncoin question, but this is a really interesting one. The question is, what do we think about Zilliqa? Zilliqa, my apologies.
Zilliqa.
And will it beat EOS? Let's bring out the Zilliqa chart. Give us your look on this, Craig, and what's going on. My views right now, I've been hearing a bit about Zilliqa.
Yeah, I have too, and I've heard the things that I've been hearing on the grapevine have been a bit like, it's not, I don't think it's the project, it's more about people trying to take advantage of people once again by saying this person's involved in the project. Here's the wallet addresses, all this sort of stuff that is fraught with danger and fraud. When I look at a chart, we've got a 4-hour uptrend. I'm going to have a look at the daily because this is how I read my charts. Remember, oh, look at this. I mean, that is just gravy right there. Look at that. But
why is that gravy, Craig?
Because look through this period, right? This is the gravy period, yeah. This is clean. This is what I call optimal chart structure: clean, smooth, flowing, trending charts. Clean, smooth, flowing, trending charts. It's like one word, but it's said quickly.
I love that. Clean. Right? Let's call that
clean,
smooth, smooth. So clean,
smooth,
flowing,
trending
charts. We're going to call it the CSFTC. The CSFTC.
I will not remember that.
Neither will I. But that's going to be on the.
But check this out, right? Coming back to this, yeah. Look, beautiful trend, good trading conditions. Back in that cradle zone, move. Back in that cradle zone, move. Back in that cradle zone. So this is fact. You cannot, like, what you've learned just today in here right now about this cradle zone is factual. It's not made up. But look, you come back here through here, we have right now a higher low, higher high on the daily. But let's look at this weekly time frame because that gives a better perspective of what's actually going on. It's extended from the average. It had a massive move. It's pulling back. It looks super strong. I don't know what they do. I don't care what they do. But on the charts right now, it looks strong. Pull back into that cradle zone right there. I did not take that. I did not see that. But right now, short term, uptrend 4-hour.
What would you do with this coin right now, Craig? If you were like, say I give you $1,000 right now, would you trade on this? Up, short, long?
If I had $1,000 to trade on this right now, I'd go and put an order in on OMG. Because that fits the rules.
Okay, I know a little bit about Zilliqa, but forgive me, everyone, I'm going to offend when I get some things wrong. I've heard this is a project that is going to take a very, very long time. And it is attempting to do like all the things that, you know, EOS and Ethereum and all those things are promising to do. But it is a very long project, and there are some super, super, super smart developers behind this. My thing about technology, and I've been doing internet technology for 15 years, and what I have seen and throughout my time, and I'm noticing literally, it's interesting with crypto, I can see projects and I can basically tell you if it's going to happen or not going to happen, is when I see something promising, something which is literally so farcical, it's almost like, Craig, when you see a coin go up so much that it literally it can't even possibly pull back. We've got something moving here. Craig, we got some movement, guys. Let's check it out. What have we got?
Charts, right, movement at the station. We've just broken the lows of the daily candle. Here's the low of that daily candle. I'll put it up here. I just zoomed in the 4 hour. We have just broken the lows of that candle. Probability would suggest that we will see, excuse me, a bit of a run on Bitcoin now. Now, is OMG outperforming Bitcoin? Because this trade could still be on, because if we're crossing OMG with Bitcoin, it's suggesting that OMG will value better than Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin falls faster than OMG, OMG will rise against Bitcoin.
Guys, where are we at with this OMG? Tell us right now. Are we still in the kill zone? Are you sweating, Craig?
No, I'm not sweating because it's not doing anything, and I'm cool with that. So that's good. I'm cool with that. But Bitcoin has broken. It is heading south. It's heading south at a rate of knots, and it is now time for, what's the opposite of moon?
Moon's got to be put away for a bit.
It's a what do they call it? A quarter crescent, not a full moon.
A crescent, yeah. All right. OMG is okay, everyone. We're still good. Let us come back to Bitcoin. What is actually going on here, Craig? We are moving.
Selling. So let's have a look at the 15 minute and get a feel for what's actually happened. So as is often the case, look, it took out the low and it did it with a big candle. We got convergence there on our MACD, which means as price makes lower highs, lower lows, so too does the MACD.
Coming back up a bit.
Convergent. Yeah, but the thing is, right, it's a significant level it just took out. It's going to consolidate for a while. It's broken the consolidation. It's not a tradable consolidation, not for my money. But probability, again, that's all we got as traders. What happens, guys, when we see a bearish candle break down? It moves. Again, over here, right? Bearish candle breaks, it moves. It doesn't have to be a huge move.
Gotcha.
If we look at the dailies, we have seen some considerable moves, and I've been waiting for this.
So it's broken that low of yesterday.
Yep.
Where are we going to end up? Like I think where's your buy zone with this, Craig? Where are you feeling it?
There's no buy zone.
You don't feel there's a support? Where's support for Bitcoin? Where is support for Bitcoin, Craig? Where are we going to end up before we get back up? Before we get back to the moon, baby.
Well, the good thing is, as a trader, I'm pretty cool either way. As long as there's direction, I can make money. So I just want direction, and we've got direction. But as far as where's our next support level, realistically, the things you've got are round numbers. 7,000 is not considered to be major. There's just nothing there. Support is several tests, 2 tests at a minimum of the same level. If we look again, we've got realistically just low here, 6,500.
Oh, you reckon 6,500?
Well, it's the only level. Look, there's 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. There's nothing else there. Now, if we do see it push down to that level, then that's the only support we've got. But, I mean, there's 2 things to consider here, there always is. If you look at the weekly, is this going to be a higher low? Well, we break the high of that little bullish candle there, then we may start to set that as a higher low. Right now, however, on the daily, we've broken down. If we set a higher low bouncing up to 7,200 and then go to a higher high, everything changes.
Yeah.
But for now, we are bearish because there's a downtrend. There's nothing more to it.
For the traders out there, let us know right now, what's your Bitcoin support level? Where you think we just cannot go anywhere below? Because I heard that miners need to have Bitcoin above $8,000. Is that?
Well, if their business model sucks, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they haven't got enough solar power and things like that. So Zilliqa, guys, is it going to beat EOS? My view, coming back to the question, the punchline is if they put something on the internet. Because I've heard so many promises. I've seen so many projects. I've seen more protocol white papers than I'm supposed to have seen in the last 2 weeks. It's literally A chain, B chain, C chain, U chain, P chain, L chain, Z chain. It's going to be A1 chain next, right? It's every single protocol. We don't need that much infrastructure yet. Yeah. We don't. We just don't have the dApps to go and actually support all these. And the weaknesses that are happening is that you've got the 51% attacks becoming cheaper and cheaper in all these weak chains, right? Yeah. When it comes down to it, Zilliqa, love what they're going to be promising. Don't know if they're going to do it. Great things, great projects take time, but EOS is going to go put something on the internet. And that's the thing about, I've always had one of the values at Finder. It's the third value. There's 5 values at Finder. And the third one is go live. Put it on the internet. And at Finder, we go live with 1,000 articles every single month. We put them on the internet, we help people, we educate them. That's doing something. That's rare in blockchain. But when it comes down to it, show me the actual blockchain. Show me the blockchain, baby.
Question.
Okay. Matthew David. You want to read this one out, Craig?
Yeah, what's your opinion on ICO advisors who are advisors to more than 5 or 10 projects at a time?
Ooh.
My opinion is that they're not really advising, they're just making bank.
Wow.
Depending on their involvement, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
look, if someone came to me, I mean, the only reason someone would ask me to advise is for following and for when it hits exchange, it actually gets a volume going by suggesting trade outcomes. On the business side, they can do that as well, how to run a business or what they think for strategy. But I mean, if you're going to be an advisor who is taking care of it, you know, an incy-wincy part of the project, and you can manage a lot of that's fine. What's the involvement is the question. If it's a little bit as expected from each, then hey, look, you can manage your time wise. I mean, how much stuff do we do on a daily basis that we shouldn't be able to do, but we manage to get it done because we can make it work. Are they involved heavily? If they're saying they're involved, like, oh, this is the biggest project ever, then you know they're full of it, and that's the concern. What's their involvement is what I think.
Yeah,
is
like
the
how
question.
many? Like, I have this view that you can focus on only one thing at one time. Now, unless you have a big crew, like I've got a pretty big crew with Finder, like, and they're killers. They're absolutely amazing. I love every single one of them because they're probably 8 times. So, Craig, throwing bottles around. He's getting nervous about his OMG. No. And I think for me, I can really only focus on one thing at one time, and I really laser focus on it. But if you have a big crew of people, eventually over time, you can focus on many projects. You know, Finder's doing a lot of different things, you know, sponsorships, you know, all those kind of things. But I think it takes a long time to get to that point. So ICO advice, you know, if you want to take in the whole project and actually make it work, like realistically, 1 to absolutely max, because not every single one's going to move super fast. I agree. I think you can't do 5 to 10. You're just shopping yourself out there. And there's demand right now for great advice. There's demand for these kind of things. There's a lot of demand for ICOs and like you're saying with the tokenomics. So there's money to be made. The challenge for me is what I want to see. Here's my request. Show me some projects. Show me some code. Put something on the internet. I want to see something live. And that's what I'm getting involved with personally. with building on the blockchain and actually putting things out there. That's what I love to do. My crew, we make things, we put them on the internet, and then we ask people what they think. So with these advisors, my view would be, I'd be really careful. You could probably do a Google search for their name and then put advisor afterwards and see how many projects they're involved with. And yeah, straight chat. I think that's a bit scary. Let's go back, Craig. OMG, are we sweating? Are we moving? Where's Bitcoin? That was a big move.
We're still on the sweet spot. We're just hovering. We're
chilled.
Every second of every day there's a war between buyers and sellers. Go away, IG markets.
What's going on with Bitcoin right now? Because I think we moved a bit there.
Yeah, we're sitting above 7,400, but we're seeing selling come in. Not surprising, really.
Right.
You know, look, when I start to see this, I start to look to other trading strategies. I've got intraday strategies, which is using Fibonacci more or less exclusively. Haven't got enough momentum yet to start to consider trading that. But when we do see a cascade or a waterfall sell-off, now a waterfall sell-off on a 15-minute won't look like a waterfall sell-off on a daily time frame, so it's specific to time frames. But that's when I can start to look at these intraday strategies. Am I there yet? Not yet. We've only just broken the lows, and we haven't seen what I would consider to be a cascade sell effect. At which point I will start to consider different trading strategies, getting on the lower time frames to get on board, because the higher time frame, the reason I am not short Bitcoin right now is just because one of the rules within the cradle strategy is this candle cannot be big. That candle is relatively large compared to these candles. So I don't trade on big candles, trade on small candles, or anything that's, okay, this sounds stupid, right? If it's not big, it's small.
Nothing sounds stupid coming from you, Craig.
Stop it. If it's not big, it's small. So if it's not clearly small, If it's not clearly big and oversized, then you can probably trade it. As it stands right now, it's a bit bigger.
So on the 21st and 22nd there, you'd say that was, or the 22nd and 23rd, that was a bit spicy, right?
Look, the entry candle's fine. That's not too big. All right. The only problem I have with trading that, and the reason I took Bitcoin Cash instead, is because 8,000 was right there, and 8,000 was a little bit of support running through there, round number. All right. So there we are there. So with 8,000 being there, I decided I was going to take that because it was a better setup with no support in the way. So I took that. That's my hedge. My stop is now there. We're breaking down through the lows, and I'm cool. Like I said, I'm a trader. I want direction. This says to me there's direction.
So you took a short there?
I'm short Bitcoin Cash right now, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I have been since back here. Purely for a hedge, hedging my portfolio.
Interesting.
To make sure that if the market does fall, I'm not going to sell my tokens. I want to hang on.
So when you're short, like for many days, you hold those
still
positions.
Short. Yeah, still short.
Wow. I love
So
it.
people were saying to me, well, where are you moving your stock to? It's moved so far. Well, the point is, it's not a trade. It's a hedge. Different way to look at things. There's plenty of videos and stuff that I've put out, and jump on the website if you want to learn more about it. But yeah, it's a hedge for me. So I'm still short. I've moved my stop loss today actually to here. It just so happens to be behind the high of this candle, which is about my entry point. So it is now break even. But the reason is that if this is starting to trend on the 8 hour, if it did break up through the high, my hedge is no longer valid.
Feels very bearish right now, Bitcoin Cash.
It's more bullish.
Like, is everyone questioning what the value of it is? And they've got like lots of empty blocks.
The value of it to me is volatility.
Gotcha.
Nothing more.
Wow.
Bitcoin Cash, the value is in the volatility, guys. Okay, we've got another question here from George. George asks, what's your opinion on the future of crypto blockchain? When do you think the peak of adoption will occur? And will it be security token offerings rather than ICOs or platform tokens? Now, let's talk about this. There are obviously a lot of different. Let's just break these couple of questions down. I just want to start right off the bat and say I absolutely love this whole concept of ICOs and what it's done, because deep down, what we're actually doing is funding projects which are going to change the world. Like, that's what the real deep down, if you go and meet these people behind these blockchains, behind these projects, they are genuinely out there to change the world. They actually, you read the Bitcoin white paper, doesn't say anything about investing, doesn't say anything about profit, it just talks about a peer-to-peer money transfer, how to change the world, right? I think that's what's great. So let's just start with that. There's a great part of it. Now, there is another part of ICOs that have come in, and they're trying to trade off this, and they're trying to get money. There's exit scams, there's projects that are fake projects. It's just, it's not cool, right? And that really hurts me. Let's talk about this in terms of adoption and actually the model as well. So raising money, I do think ICOs and things like that should continue. I think security tokens is the future. I love this idea of being able to buy a company and instantly having liquidity, as opposed to before. You're a venture capital or an angel investor. You see a great technology, a great tech company, right? You want to get in. You're going to be waiting 5 to 7 years, even if you're going to potentially get your money out. Whereas with tokens, you could potentially get your money out straight away, right?
Depending on the
Liquidity.
lockup period.
Correct. Lockup periods, investing, and all those kind of things. But that idea and that concept, to me, is revolutionary and will change the world. And I think it's going to disrupt a lot of different markets, but I also think it's going to create new evolutions of existing business models. Like venture capital, I don't think is going to die. It's just going to change. I don't think banks are going to die. They're just going to change. I don't think the stock market's going to die. It's just going to change. All these things are going to continue to exist, and they're great companies run by great people working super hard. I love the banks. I love them. I know that's unusual, but they're working damn hard with lots of regulation. I love the banks. No, there we are. Right now, unfortunately, in Australia, I don't think we're the moon is. It's like a downward moon, unfortunately, for the banks right now. We can talk about. Whoa! It's tearing up the studio out here.
When do we smash stuff?
Soon. When we go to the moon, then we just drive a Lambo in the back here. Anyway. But what I want to say is there are a lot of people working really hard in those companies, doing great things, because they do create stability. They allow people to buy homes. They keep their money safe. They pay back people who get defrauded. There's lots of great things that they have done and they are doing. I know there are challenges, and with every industry there are challenges.
They're big business.
Yeah, they are a big business, and just because there are a few bad actors, just like with cryptocurrency, you know, it may happen. Joel's fixing the studio, guys, while we're doing that. So thanks very much, Joel, for that, and coming in and fixing the studio while I was tearing it up. The moon got a little jumpy on the moon.
Angry moon.
Let's go back to this. Okay, so with the question, when is adoption going to happen? My view on that is if you were going to look at the internet, and when's the peak of adoption going to happen? I think it's when you get things simpler. So you go back in time, and I remember the internet when there were dial-up modems. I remember Usenets. Does anyone remember ICQ?
Yeah,
that was awesome. And remember when we transitioned from the internet to broadband, and then we went to mobile data? Remember mobile data used to be unbelievably expensive. Now you almost use your mobile data as much as you use your broadband. Right?
It's actually faster, right? 10 minutes for your phone's faster.
Isn't that crazy, right? You go back in time, right? We're in dial-up days. Now, Ethereum is kind of like, to me, is dial-up, potentially, and you might say EOS and these new chains is broadband. I don't think we're at, like, you still got to code smart contracts on EOS in C++ and C. And there is another language as well they're going to have on it, right? So, it's not like it's super easy to access and get these things up and running. Now, I remember the day when we used to code websites from scratch. I used to write frame sets, all these kind of things. Now you've got WordPress, Wix, Squarespace. You can usually bang a website up like super quick, right?
ClickFunnels, what's that one?
Yeah, ClickFunnels, all these kind of things, right? It's super fast. Actually, Finder runs on WordPress, by the way. Yeah, 12 million visits a month on WordPress. Would you believe that? It's amazing.
Well done, WordPress.
WordPress.
Well done, Finder.
Yes.
Bet you.
Yeah! I think that's where we're at, right? It's a cracker question. Just come in.
You don't.
Cassie's wondering what's underneath the hat. Guys, the thing about that is, Cassie, you're going to have to come and see me tomorrow night at David Jackson's meetup. Then I'll show you what's underneath the hat, because this is a very secret thing, and I'm not really into. I don't take orders like that. This is my look. This is what I roll, and I encourage everyone to be themselves. Be exactly who you want to be. If you want to come and see and know what's underneath the hat, we're also bringing the State of Origin ball along. Finder's currently on the State of Origin ball. We're bringing it along tomorrow night at David Jackson's event. Joel, if you can bring up the event details when you can. It's the meetup in Sydney. I believe it's starting at 6:30. I could be wrong with that.
That's right.
It's at the World Square. It's in World Square. You can look it up. It's the Crypto Sydney event.
Be there at 6 o'clock so you
6
can get the
o'clock.
lift.
Beer and pizza are going to be there. But let me tell you right now, I'm bringing the State of Origin ball along. You can have a photo. And Cassie, if you're there, I'll show you what's underneath the hat. There's a promise. Now let's go back. Looking at these different protocols, right? These different. I think there's going to be a protocol crash. You've got too many. Do you remember when we had frozen yogurt? Remember when we had frozen yogurt and it was like everyone was like, "Oh my god, frozen yogurt was awesome." And then there was like 15 of them.
Can I just say one thing? Frozen yogurt still is awesome.
It is awesome.
Don't ever.
I'm not dishing it. I love it.
I'm out.
I'm out. Oh, crazy.
You talk you poop talk. Frozen yogurt's good.
No more poop in frozen yogurt. But you remember when the frozen yogurt trend came out? You remember when the donut trend came out? I don't know if donuts are around anymore. The cronut. I went to Dominique's when we were at Consensus in New York. I went to his bakery there, and they still sell cronuts out every single day. But let me just say,
there's a massive line.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You can actually pay someone to go and line up for you. Anyway, let me tell you, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see commoditization of protocols, and the protocols are going to go to near zero cost, and you're literally going to see the prices go down. Remember when the internet was $5 an hour? Does anyone remember that? I remember when that was like that. And you're paying dial-up modem days. Now, you can go on the internet for as long as you like. You're not paying $5 an hour. You're paying like, what 2 cents or 0.0001 of a cent. That's what's going to happen with protocols. There's too many of them coming. 1 or 2 or 3 of them are going to win. Which one's going to win? I want to know which one you think is going to win. Which protocol is going to win? Craig, what's your pick on which protocol?
I'll add to that. So one of the things I asked the guests I have on the show, whether it be every guest in New York pretty much, I was asking, that we see people talk about blockchain and the internet.com. And they compare it. Now, the internet was around in the 80s, right? But it didn't sort of take off until 93 it started.
Yeah.
That's when commerce started to occur. But it was 2000 which we saw which would be, I suppose, the end of the example of the internet, right? When did it really sort of peak out, get mass adoption? Think about it nowadays, right? Or sorry, back to that. I ask every guest, where do you think we are? 93 or 2000 as far as blockchain? Now, you can go on the show, listen to every single one of the interviews I do, I'll ask that question. And
I'm going to go 96.
Okay, so you're the higher end of everybody. So they're usually about 93 to 96. Most of them sitting about 95, to be fair. So we've got a long way to go. But the way to sort of work out...
It's actually true. Take a snapshot of this right now, Craig. Look at this moment in time, everyone. We're in 1996 or whatever it may be on blockchain right now. Feel this. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is it. You're here right now. Put a stamp, take a screenshot. This is where we are.
We are. So basically, they answer these questions, and these are people that are much smarter.
I think we're moving a bit, Craig. Are we moving?
No, we're sitting. We're fine. We're sitting. We are moving out of battery mode. We've got 9% left, just to give it over.
Guys, we're going to have to bring this to a close fairly soon. But I want to hear Cobby's ideas on this.
So think of this, right? I come to you and say, what's your business? You say, I sell bikes. I say, what's the web page? In 2018. And you go, I don't have a web page. And you go, what? You don't have how are you even in business? But I sell bikes. Everyone needs a website now.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't have a website, they're the freak.
Yeah.
So the internet was never like that.
No.
It started out a website.
Yeah.
But how am I going to put all these files into here?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Now, once we start to get to the point where everyone's going, oh yeah, crypto, I just, however that comes about, I think that's when we have the moment where we go, right, that's our mass adoption moment.
Make it simple.
We've got a lot further to go. Coming back to you, make it simple. We're not even close yet.
Yeah.
It's still very wild
Addresses and
it's
like
so clunky.
confirmations,
So
like
clunky.
Etherscan. Like you're gonna ask someone.
It's like this long.
Now, let's talk about, do we want to come back to OMG ever so quick? But I do want to ask one question, Craig.
You got one more.
What I really want, I think everyone wants to know from what's going on right now, I think we're like high level. I'd love to know your view. Are we going down or are we going up? Like where's your thermometer right now? Because I'm hearing 10,000. I'm hearing 5,000. I've heard, really crazy numbers. I think I picked this month, last month, 7,500, pretty close to the money on that one. But I want to hear your view right now on and how to get this information. Let's teach everyone as well how to do this because you're a great educator and I love what you do, Craig. And you got to come back on and we got to get our next time. We've got to bring another coin in to like literally drop into the moon. Tell us, where do you think we're going?
Well,
that's $1 million question. Really,
so here's a tricky thing, right? So I did your finder.com survey thing.
Predictions.
I put in, I think it was 9,000.
Yep.
And the reason I put in 9,000 is because from a fundamental, it's difficult to pick it out. If I was in an uptrend, it's much easier, right? If there was something to play with, it's much easier. Might be a bit biased towards thought because I'm not trading it, I'm looking at a chart. But I'm trying to weigh up sentiment at the moment. And like I say, I'm fortunate that I do get to speak to a lot of very good people in this market. So my sentiment is derived from individuals that are smarter than me in the space and my ability to read charts and look at markets and see how they operate. For me, I just feel like we are going to see a recovery, and I think the call is for the 1st of July. Now, there's a long time in crypto land. We could come down, test 6,500 and be at 9,000.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
Overall, my view long term is that Bitcoin will recover, and it will be a force to be reckoned with, and it will be worth a lot of USD, right? Short term, as I see it right now, it's nothing but bearish. There's no bullish case I can build right now with the information. Now, I get criticised. Well, hang on. 2 weeks ago, you were saying there was nothing you could see that was bearish,
yep.
and now you're bearish. You were bullish 2 weeks ago. It's like, yes, Johnny boy.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a trader.
Yep.
I read charts, and charts change, and I pivot, and I work, and I don't just sit there and go, no, I'm always bullish forever, like 95% of the crypto majority, and that's fine if you want to sit back and be a hodler. For me, I'm a trader. I make an income, and I invest that income into projects. So short-term bearish, long-term, July 1st, I've put down 9,000 because I believe that the space is very strong. I don't know when we're going to see the bounce, but I do not have any reservations about saying I'm bullish the space entirely.
Awesome. Quickly, back to OMG. Where are we at? Are you sweating? How are we going? Tell us.
I'm sweating because it's hot.
It is quite warm in here, isn't it? Fibs are...
Let's check the 4 hour back up again. So yeah, we're still good. Look, here's the thing.
We have moved a bit.
One of two things is going to happen, all right? If we break above this high, I would be happy to be long. If we break below the low, I'll cancel my order. So if my stop loss level is invalidated, i.e. the level's been broken before I get pulled into the trade, I'll just cancel the order. The order, oh, I've got to raise the order first, remember, I've got to get home and do I keep forgetting that. But yeah, if we break up through the high of this level right here, then I believe the probability would suggest we will move higher.
Yep.
If we break down through this low first, then there's no reason for me to raise the order. If I had the order raised, I would just cancel it.
Yep.
So whilst ever we stay between these two lines for the time being, considering I'm looking at this on an 8 hour time frame, then that remains valid for me.
It just feels like we're potentially bobbling.
You said feel.
I did say feel.
That's an emotion.
I did say
I'm not looking for any emotion.
I did say
I'm looking at the chart. The chart is telling me what I told you.
The chart is telling me what I told you.
Trade
Remember
what you see, not what you think.
Bam! All right, guys, let's bring this to a close. Thanks for joining us. Tune in for our next episodes. Press subscribe. Join us on Twitter. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow Trader Cobb as well.
Yep.
He is crushing it with his technical analysis. Buy his courses and learn crypto. It's 1996. Get in there. Buy the courses, guys. I'm telling you, they're amazing. This guy, he knows exactly what he's talking about. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon for another episode of the Daily Exchange, baby.
Thanks, guys.